Hey everyone, how y'all doing? Welcome to another episode of Night Chats. Thank you guys for joining me here tonight. Just wanted to pop on and do a quick little rundown of a video that I just recently watched and one that I think you guys may find interesting. It hits a little bit on our history and a little bit about some of the lies we've been told, along with just to make your brain kind of get get working and make you think a little bit. Because I got to tell you, if you're like me, the more and more I actually take to look into the our history and to look back on things, the more I realize that everything we've been taught is a lie. Whether it be from ignorance or whether it be self, um, whether it was done intentionally to hold us back as individuals and to hold us back as a population, as one. Knowledge is power, like they've always said, and I that's very true. And that's one of the main reasons why, I try to get you guys out there thinking and try to bring these topics up because it is so important for us all to be knowledgeable, and especially when it comes to our history and things like that. I mean, how can you go forward, or how can you build on a future when your whole past is lies? It's just like they always say, everything starts with a strong foundation. And if we're starting out by being told things about our past that just aren't true, it's going to make it awfully hard for us to succeed as a civilization. And that's why it's important, I think, that we take the time, we study and we learn and take it upon ourselves, rather than sitting back and being dished out, um, with certain facts that undoubtedly just go with certain agendas. I think it's important to just sit back and you yourself take in, from what's around you, because we have right now at the tip of our fingers, we have availability to any information out there that we could possibly need. It's just a matter of taking the time and having the willpower and the drive to really, more than anything else, just want truth. And that's what this all comes down to. I mean, I don't really, when it comes down to our history, I don't really have one way or another I lean. I just want to know the truth. And I think that's important for all of us. I think you should all want to know the truth. As mundane as it might sound to look at some of these issues that I bring up and to think that maybe they just don't pertain to you or they're not important. Again, back to knowledge being power. It's definitely important. It's always important, to be knowledgeable about any situation in life. You go into certain things blind, or you go into things not knowing, and you make poor decisions. And these decisions affect us. It may be our past that we're talking about, but the decisions we make going forward into the future, knowing your past and knowing the outcomes from the past, learning from those experiences, it's just all so very important. All right. So, with that being said, a little bit more about this video here. So, this video is going to talk a little bit about the architecture, of the old days, back in times before any of us could even think about being around. We're talking back into the 1600s, and we've been told that civilization back then just, they didn't have the technology that we have today. That we've been taught that they were just, using hand tools, and they were just starting to learn. But I ask you to watch this video and to take a look at some of this architecture in this video, and to see that it's impossible that these things could have been created with hand tools or with the technology that we're told that they had back in the day. And I think it's important, again, to learn this, because it just goes to show how much we truly don't know about the past. And maybe if we had the capabilities of this technology that they had back in the day, that I fully believe is being suppressed from us, I think if we had that technology, I think we could be in a much better place today. Something that I really would love to see more people put their time and their energy into is free energy. Free energy, I believe, is possible, and it's always been possible. But I think it's been suppressed from us because of the oil industries, the gas industries, and just the economy that we live in. I think they've kept that suppressed from us. But free energy, there we live in what's called the ether, and this ether is all around us. And it's in the Bible. They talk about the ether. Ether, it's the electricity that's naturally in the air around us in this world that we live in. And Nikola Tesla touched on it back in the day, when he believed, he invented wireless technology way back, the 19, what are we talking, the 1930s, 1940s, so on. So, um, the ether, the ether. I believe that they had a technology available to them that they were utilizing, that allowed them to do things that we even today couldn't duplicate. Their master's, wow, their mastery. I can't say it. Their mastery of just of building, of architecture, and what they were able to accomplish. It's just, I don't think we could even accomplish that today. It's amazing to look back at some of these things, and once you see that, you got to ask yourself why. Of course, it looks beautiful and um, you know very aesthetic, but at the same time, why? Why would they put that much time into such intricacies as the little minute details in their architecture? It's just, and it's duplicated all across the world. You look at it, these coliseums and these places, the stonework that was done is just, it's unbelievable. It really is, and it's amazing if you take the time to really appreciate what they were able to accomplish. So, all right, enough of me talking here. I'm gonna jump into the video, give you guys a look at exactly what I'm talking about. Like I said, take the time to really appreciate what you're seeing, um, and the level of expertise it must have taken to partake in these epic buildings that they made. So, um, again, just want to thank you guys for joining me here on Night Chats. We'll jump into the video, but make sure, please, if you could, get those likes up, get those subscribes up. It's always important. But yeah, just want to thank you all again for joining me. Let's get into the video.
Once you regain your sight, it is very hard to go blind again. The programming and brainwashing runs so subtly deep that we have all come to associate the notion of ancient with underdeveloped, less technologically advanced, and believers of mysticism. Consider the structures built throughout history. The ancient fortress of Ollantaytambo in Peru. These huge stone blocks are made from granite. They weigh between 40 and 120 tons, or between 36,000 and 120,000 kilograms. The world record for the deadlift in the weightlifting world is 500 kilograms. So how did the Incas transport this granite to such a high altitude location? Look at the way the stones fit so neatly together like jigsaw pieces. How did they cut granite with such precision? Look beyond the stones. Who were these gigantic steps made for? And by who? Babalovo Palace and its bath. This bath was allegedly created from a 160-ton piece of granite. 160 tons is 145,000 kilograms.
Who the hell are they making that
The
boat?
bath structure today weighs 48 tons,
More lies.
or 43,000
The
kilograms.
giants. It's in the
They
Bible.
say it took the artist 10 years to create. But look, how perfect its curved structure is, and the upper rim of the bath. Yeah, right. No matter what fabrication they attach to this, creating such a structure by hand is impossible without advanced machinery. Alexandra Column, erected in 1834. The column is a single piece of red granite. It weighs 600 tons, or 540,000 kilograms. Again, how did they lift this in the 1830s, and how was it carved to such perfection? Look at the intricacy displayed in the statues of Cappella San Severo. These were allegedly crafted in 1753. It is obvious this is not handcrafted. Cutting through a single piece of pure marble with such perfect precision and attention to micro detail is impossible without some kind of advanced machinery. History as we know it is a lie. These all point to civilizations with advanced technology. The photographs of Stonehenge and the Temple of Abu Simbel tell us to be skeptical of other historical structures, such as the pyramids. It is likely that the pyramids are not as old as we are told, and they could have been constructed by anybody, and at any time during history. It is likely that they were all constructed more recently with two primary purposes in mind: to deceive us, and as a ritualistic place of worship, honoring their satanic gods. The first power tool, we are told, was not invented until 1895, and the first electric lamp in 1879. So how was this architecture crafted and constructed?
Beautiful. Definitely not done with what they told us they had for tech. No way that shit's not what the That right there should tell you we've been lied to.
It is so obvious this is not the truth. If you really look at all the cities of the world, you can see their stone structures and design would have actually been impossible. We are to believe the fabricated pre-industrial narrative and timelines. There is an abundance of compelling photographic and structural evidence suggesting that the civilizations of the world experienced a cataclysmic mudflood in its recent history, which buried many cities.
Think about how much is right underneath our feet that we don't even know about. So much.
Cities with architecture built with advanced technology and that ran on free electricity.
Here it is, the ether. That's what these buildings were made for. That's why they were so intricately made. Electricity ran through them. They were like resonators.
There also exists evidence of a worldwide nuclear war somewhere between 1780 and 1815. It all points to an early 19th century worldwide reset through depopulation.
Reset.
We also see old photographs of nigh-on deserted cities.
I want the old back. Everything.
And of birthing stations and orphan trains, suggesting they needed to repopulate large areas of the world at some point.
Orphan trains. Look into it. Repopulation.
It is likely that a lot of 18th and 19th century culture was designed to program and indoctrinate false history into these children. This is a topic to explore outside of this series, but it all suggests that our history has been heavily edited, timelines distorted and corrupted. The Mandela effect. Why do you think it was so easy for the Rothschilds to rise to power? Were they just really adept at manipulating the financial world? It is very likely that the rise of the Illuminati and the Rothschild banking took place against a different contextual background and much earlier in history. The Napoleonic War is likely a fabrication, and the war in which the Rothschilds came to power was a different kind of war. It is also highly likely that Tesla's story is not entirely true. It seems more accurate that he actually rediscovered free energy, and that's why it was suppressed immediately and not given a chance.
Why he was murdered. His tech was stolen.
It seems very convenient that photography was not officially invented until 1822. Are we advanced today? Yes, we have computers. But look at all the wires. Our infrastructure has not actually progressed. Trains, cars, and planes, in principle, are the same as they were when they were invented. Aesthetics and slight improvements in speed give the illusion of progress. Control and manipulation, both necessary as we advance technologically, because technology exposes their lies. Advanced cameras expose the lies of space.
Exactly why we're learning this now, because we actually.
That is why the key methods for discerning truth from lies is to trust our own eyes, senses, and judgment over narrative. There is zero evidence of the heliocentric model on Earth, and to follow the people who run our world. Follow the money, follow the bloodlines, follow the symbolism, and follow their fear. When they suppress, when they scream hoax, when they smear, we must dig and examine.
Everything.
The question burns. Who or what cut down our giant trees and mined the earth? And where did all the mined material go? There are a handful of possible conclusions we can draw from studying the geological nature of our flat Earth. The first is that whatever beings mined Earth were undeniably more advanced, technologically, industrially, and intelligently than the human species. The second is that they were obviously much larger than us as a species. You could reconcile the possibility that they were humans like us, but just technologically more advanced, and had developed the machines capable of committing such actions. But this is very unlikely. Mythological stories of giants abound in our culture, and these tales can be found in every single culture throughout history. In the Christian and Jewish biblical texts, we find accounts of the Nephilim. In ancient Greece and Rome, we have giants and titans. In the Quran, we have the people of Ad. Giants are present in scripture, mythology, oral history, folklore, literature, and movies.
This is in the Bible, the Nephilim.
The book of Enoch speaks about fallen angels, or the Watchers, beings that came from a realm above the firmament and began to interbreed with humans. And they became pregnant, and they bare great giants, whose height was 300 ells, who consumed all the acquisitions of men. And when men could no longer sustain them, the giants turned against them and devoured mankind. And they began to sin against birds and beasts and reptiles and fish, and to devour one another's flesh and drink the blood.
It's all there.
The canonical Bible gives us the same account, this time naming these giants as the Nephilim. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days and afterward. During that time,